Today, most of us live far away from the natural world. When we're thirsty, we turn on the sink or grab a water bottle. When we're hungry, we go to the grocery store and buy packaged food. But all of these things came from the earth somehow. Everything we use every day started out as a part of nature. We call these things we depend on resources. The most basic resource for any life, especially our own, is water. Water is what keeps our bodies running and balanced. But where does it come from? Naturally, water is always moving through the environment. The water cycle, as it's called, begins high in the mountains in the form of snow and ice. Over time, as the mountains warm up, that snow melts and runs down through rivers and lakes in the form of fresh water. Some of this water seeps into the soil around those rivers and lakes. We call this groundwater. Sometimes this groundwater gets trapped between rocks and forms little underground lakes called aquifers. Some aquifers are small and some are thousands of miles across. Eventually, this water ends up in the ocean and becomes undrinkable water. All along this path, water is also evaporating or turning into mist and rising up into the sky to become clouds. Once these clouds become too full of water, they begin to rain or snow, and the cycle starts back over again. We get water from all different parts of this cycle. Depending on where you live, you might get your water from melting snow, collecting rain, cleaning river water, using a well to pump up groundwater, or taking salt out of ocean water. It's interesting to wonder about everything that's going on in the background just so that you can get a drink. Food is something else we barely think about, but plays a very important role in our lives. Food is different than water, though, because it's usually made by people. There are a few main ways to create the ingredients that go into our breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. Most of the stuff we eat every day comes from big industrial farms. Industrial means that these farms are run by big companies using big machines and tractors. These farms try to make as much cheap food as they can so everyone is able to buy a meal. These farms, though, can hurt the land they're built on. Sometimes, so that they can move as fast as possible, they only plant one crop across miles of farmland year after year. This can wear out the soil. They also use pesticides or chemicals that make sure bugs and weeds don't get in. They can sometimes hurt other animals or get into the water around the farm and make people sick. Speaking of water, these farms use up lots of water. The other option is what's called organic farming. Basically, these farms try to make food while making sure the land they're on is healthy. Sadly, this is much more expensive, so it's harder to keep one of these farms running. Some resources we can't even see, like energy. Energy has many forms. There's the electricity in our light bulbs, computers, and phones, there's the heat in our fireplaces and stoves, and there's the gas that allows our cars to move. There are lots of different ways to get energy too. The most common way to make electricity is to burn coal. This means people have to dig deep into the earth to mine the coal, then bring it up into a power plant. A special type of power called nuclear power is made in a similar way, though this time it's a green rock called uranium. There are only a certain amount of coal or uranium in the earth though, so these resources might eventually run out. There are other ways to make electricity though. Wind turbines can convert power of wind into electricity, and you can do the same thing by putting a dam on a river. The power of the water moving through the dam creates a good source of electricity. It's even possible to use solar panels to turn sunlight into electricity. These methods will never run out, but they require a lot of wind, water, or sunlight that can be hard to get in certain parts of the world. Every day, the environment gives us the resources that we need to survive. It's important to remember that. If we hurt the environment, many of these systems that allow our world to run would fall apart. The environment is beautiful and an important thing, and it plays a huge role in all of our lives every day.